本当にあった莫大な宝を目の前に。ロジャーはあの時
登録してた。
Car D Kaizoku.
Okay, so OP05 has been released for a week now, so I thought, why not revisit that speculative tier list we did before its release and check how close we were to being correct, now that there's been a week of tournaments to see results in. To summarize from last time, we put Fellow Betty in meta contender. The justification for that was that there was just so much inherent synergy between the Revolutionary Army cards, and her leader ability seemed pretty straightforward and also synergized with the cards, that we felt like it was a pretty easy place into meta contender since the deck pretty much plays itself. For Purple Luffy, we put him in meta contender as well because his leader ability is what provides consistency for a ramp strategy, and it also draws you a card. And we also thought 10 cost Purple Luffy was an amazing card for the deck as a top end card. For the competitive tier, we put Blue-Black Sakazuki here. His leader ability, we thought it had good utility, and we predict that it's just going to be a good stuff deck with no real like archetype that just runs the best cards from blue and black. For Enel, we originally put him in Fringe, but actually on second reconsideration, we moved him up to competitive. His leader ability, we thought it was strong, but actually it's a lot stronger than we thought it was because I had misunderstood that you needed one card in hand to discard for it to activate, but it turns out you do not. Some of you guys in the comments let me know that, so that bumped him a lot higher in my mind than I initially put him in. But we also did think that it may have been missing like one more set of support for the deck if we're running like a pure Sky Island deck, because the top end was just 7 cost Enel, and then some of the lower end cost cards weren't too great. For the Fringe tier, we put Sabo here. We thought the leader ability was interesting, but it's just too hard countered by blue, and blue is a popular color. So we thought that with the variance in matchup depending too heavily on whether you're facing blue or not, he wouldn't be too good in the meta. And then we put Rosinante in the Cope tier because his leader ability, while very interesting concept, being able to block and save a character, in practice, he's a dual color leader with 4 life and 5k power, which makes it kind of hard to block effectively. So the benefit is just like saving a searcher early on 2 or 3 times, which didn't seem like it was worth it to me. So let's check out One Piece top decks to see placings of the OP05 decks. I should have started this at the top. I can edit it. I have editing power. Let's take a look at One Piece top decks to see how these decks placed, and we'll judge how good a deck is by how many times it's placed. I know that's not like a true determination of how good the deck is, but that's pretty much all I have to go by. So let's see. Yeah, we see Sakazuki here. A lot of Purple Luffy. Fellow Betty, not as much as we expected. And quite a bit of Enel. I did go through some of the sentiments of some of the people who played in the Asia server and their thoughts on the power level of these new leaders. So with their sentiments in mind and then the placements here, let's try to score how well we did. Take a look. So we'll start off with Bello Betty. Bello Betty, we only see her here 3 times. So much of other red decks. I think we were kind of off the mark on her being a meta contender. She seems like she should belong in competitive, like near the edge of competitive right now. I guess we overestimated how good her synergy was. I guess I was still thinking of it with the OP04 focus in mind. But Purple did get a big boost from starter deck 10, and we see that represented here. And then Yellow has been getting good stuff in OP03, OP04, OP05. Every set they get something new to add to the repertoire. While a Bello Betty deck, at least from the list I've seen so far. Let me open them up. Yeah, they run Revolutionary Army cards, and this is the first set that they've come out in. So because their leader ability is so like locked onto this archetype, and we only have one set to pull from. I guess that's the limiting factor. The same reason that I thought Enel might have been on the edge of competitive was actually true for Bello Betty. Every red card is a Revolutionary Army card, but they do run some of the trigger cards in yellow, it seems. Yeah, so I don't know. I still think she's good, but not meta contender like we initially thought. So we'll give ourselves half a point for that. That sound right? We'll look at Luffy. Yeah, this one's pretty obvious. He is top meta right now, I believe. Let's just take a look at 3 random decks. Yeah, he just runs the good cards from starter deck 10, and then this kid from OP05 is like insanely good as well. Yeah, it seems like 9 cost Kaido is their boss monster. I thought it would be 10 cost Luffy, but it seems this ability to KO something that costs 6 and then attack for 10k on the turn you play him is really strong. Yeah, none of these 3 ran the 10 cost Luffy. I open like 2 more. Will I see one? Oh, this one runs Bullet. Oh, this guy runs 2. And so Rojiro. Yeah, I thought the OP05 Straw Hats would be more represented in the deck because they seem to have benefits when you're at max Dawn. But it looks like 9 cost Kaido is the play. And an Animal Pirates kind of package. No Searcher though. They're just good purple cards, I guess. So, I don't know. I think we deserve a point for that. So we'll get a point for Luffy. Alright, let's take a look at Sakazuki. Yeah, Sakazuki is also another pretty well represented deck here. We'll see if it's just a good stuff deck. Yeah, kinda, right? It runs Navy cards, Dressrosa, Alabasta, CP9, East Blue, 7 Warlords of the Sea, Animal Pirates. Yeah, it's just a bunch of good cards from Black and Blue. Looks like top end is just a bunch of removal cards with bodies. And then blockers. Yeah, pretty obvious that he was going to be good. He might even be meta contender instead of competitive. Does he lose to Purple Luffy though? He does, right? Were we that off that we should give ourselves half a point, or would that still count as a point? Yeah, I think half a point. Because I didn't think he would be like top meta. But I did think it was going to be a good deck, just not like... Well, I guess it's not ubiquitous like Purple Luffy. I wish there was a way to count. Am I going to have to count by hand? Hold on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. 8. There's Luffy who has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 14, 15, 16, 18, 1.
Yeah, Luffy is like double the representation of Sakazuki, so maybe he is just incompetitive. So we'll give ourselves a point for that. So far we got half a point for Bello Betty, a point for Luffy, a point for Sakazuki. We just counted Enel. He's about the same as Sakazuki, so I think he is also here. So let's take a look at some of the Enel lists. Yeah, surprisingly, they're not too Sky Island heavy. I guess the yellow cards are just good enough to not care whether you're a Big Mom Pirate leader or not. Yeah, and then I actually made that speculative tier list before I even jumped into OP04, so I totally forgot that Yamato exists, who is like a pretty good top end. I thought the Enel deck wouldn't be that great without access to 10 cost Mom, but 9 cost Yamato also great, especially with his leader ability, since you'll like perpetually be at 1 life and Yamato can heal when you're at 1 life. So kind of missed that synergy there, because I forgot that Yamato existed. Yeah, yellow is just crazy. Every set they get a new trigger card that they can play from their life. OP03 gave them like attackers they could play and a searcher they could play. OP04 gave them a blocker they could play, and OP05 now gives them a 2k counter that they can play from life. Pretty crazy. Yeah, some of these decks don't even run the Enel, but some do. I think Enel is a great card. Very sticky, and he has Rush too. Yeah, and for that, I think he is here, as we predicted. So we'll give ourselves another point for that. For Sabo, let's take a look at Sabo. I don't think I saw him at all. Oh, no, I saw him here once. That kind of makes sense for Fringe, right? It'll sometimes sneak its way through. Runs randomly Straw Hats and Revolutionary Army cards. It does seem sort of like a good stuff deck, because these cards don't really have any synergy with Sabo himself. It's Chaka do. Give up to 2 Rested Dawn cards to your leader or one of your character. Oh, interesting. But yeah, I think this makes sense. He just dies to blue. There really is no benefit to his leader ability if you're playing against blue. It's as if you just have like a 5k attacker leader with 4 life. So that kind of sucks, but I think he deserves to be in Fringe. So we get a point for that. Rosinante, I don't think we saw him represented at all. And just as we suspect, his leader ability... Well, it's not his leader ability, it's kind of like everything about him is kind of wrong. Like, if you're going to give him blocker, at least give him like a higher stat line or more life. But it's like he has all the downsides of being a dual color leader without barely any benefit. So I think he is in the cope tier. So I think we're on the mark on that one too. So we'll give ourselves a point there. So in total, we got 1.2345, 5.5 out of 6. What is 5.5 divided by 6? Hey, that's like 91%. That's pretty good, right? It's an A minus. Mom, still an A. Let me have my Game Boy back, please. I just want to play Pokemon. That's pretty good, right? We're almost pretty much on the nose on where they will place in the meta. That gives me a little bit of confidence in my ability to speculate on future sets and buy abilities. We could have just gotten lucky though. I will concede to that. And also, it's just the first week of the set. I'm sure it's just the fact that everyone wants to play the new leaders, so they're probably overrepresented here. Or rather, like, what am I trying to say? The play percent of the new leaders are higher than the old leaders, so of course we'll see them represented more. We do still see like Law, Red Purple Luffy, Red Purple Law, and Zoro here. Katakuri here, yeah. Who were like strong contenders in previous metas. Doflamingo too. So my prediction for the meta going forward is that people are going to come down from their high of trying out the new leaders, and then old leaders that were really good will resurface. I'm pretty sure it's just a matter of time until Whitebeard comes back into meta. Just very surprised I don't see him at all here. You see one Whitebeard here. But I honestly believe that it's just people who are sick and tired of playing Whitebeard for like 3 metas straight now. So that's why we see every other leader represented here. But he'll come back, I'm sure of it. For now, this is where the meta is at in OP05. Maybe I'll do another one of these in the middle of the meta or near the end. And then I can do it again when it comes out in English, so more content for me. Hope this video helped. Not really. This video doesn't really help you. It's just more to validate myself. So I guess, hope you guys are happy for me while I stroke my own ego. I guess that's all I have to say in this video. Okay, bye.
Car D Kaizoku.